Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, you can see right in front of you a 50-50 chance. There's nothing between these guys. I'd be disappointed with anything less than a 5-game series here. Both the players have got 5 wins. They've played twice. It's gone one way one time. It's gone the other way the next time. There's not really much more to talk about it. There is a draft to talk about, so let's check that one out right now. Alrighty, so we can see the draft kicks off. We can see Tunison. He takes Nuwa and Loki off the table. Soup takes Kronos and Gaia off the table. Wild. Wild to take the Kronos off the table when you have that sort of second pick, leaving Huitzilopochtli on the board there. So Tunison will snap up Huitzilopochtli as one of the strongest gods currently. Soup then takes Quetzalcoatl and Fuxi, Susanoo Amaterasu, etc., etc. We do have ourselves a Amaterasu Shenong for our first game on the map. Blue Lagoon. Let's jump into it. Game number 1. It's semifinals time. Let's check it out. Alrighty, guys, welcome back to some more Gameathlon. Well, the road to Gameathlon, the road to Athens action. We're in playoffs number 2. This is the semifinals. This means basically everyone remaining has got a real chance this week at qualifying. There's only one qualifier a week. Last week we had Recon. Recon took out Soup last week, who is playing. He's in this right-hand corner. He's playing as the red Shenong. Soup last week took out Tunison, who he's playing against again. A little bit of a rematch here, this time in the semifinals. They met in the quarterfinals last week. Each week, there will be a different bracket. It's all based on performance, so things do change week to week. But Tunison, he's going to be looking for his revenge today. That's the storyline. He lost in a very, very close series last week. He's learned a lot from that, but so too is Soup. Both players are going to be getting better and better and better as this tournament progresses. Funnily enough, the players who qualify early, they might have a little bit of a harder time trying to get that level up because they don't have that weekly tournament there to kick their bums to make them have someone to work towards. That being said, Soup, his main strength comes from his strategy. His main strength comes from the fact that while he does stream everything and everyone can watch what he does, let's just say his main strength comes from his strategy. And if your main strength comes from your strategy, then when somebody knows what your strategies are, then you lose the surprise factor. You also start getting people metagaming you, and some weird stuff starts ending up happening. We'll see if that's going to be impacting Soup or not. It's yet to impact him. He's been playing so well in this tournament thus far. Tunison, on the other hand, well, he too has been having some really, really good runs. The only like speed bump that he's hit was Soup first and foremost, and it was a close series nonetheless. Relics on this map, are there going to be, or is there going to be anything impactful? We've got the Pelt of Argus, which is line of sight +6. Onto the bottom side, there is the Dwarven Calipers, which is Siege, and the Kinemetsen, Food with Gold, favor cost -20%. Up onto the top side, there is a relic already being taken there from Soup, as it's the Chocolatl. This is one of my favorite relics. There's 2 relics from the, or 3 relics from the Aztec DLC that have been introduced that I absolutely love. And well, one of them is the Chocolatl there. We see text of Imhotep being picked up by Tunison for the building faster there as well. You can get the 4% extra HP. You can get 2.5% extra movement speed. And then you can also get the 5% resource refund on death. Some very, very nice relics. But in this one, just the Chocolatl there. So we'll see. We'll see what Soup is going to be up to in this one, because he is up against Minakatatomi, and it's looking like it's going to be a bit of a boom off. On the left side, town center coming down for Tunison straight away. This is an incredibly well-timed town center. He hits the next age. He charges over there. There isn't a Miko coming in to help this out or anything like that. So no Shrine of the Hunt just yet, but he does have some hunt out onto this position. And Soup here, well, he's going for a very big boom. Now, there's nothing wrong with going for this boom and then going into a second town center. Outside of the fact that it is simply just better in the long run to go for the town center faster. But that doesn't matter that much when your opponent also goes for a second town center. Now, we're not going to be seeing that straight away as the military camp is coming through from Soup. The Kitsune came through and did scout a military camp. So Tunison's going to know what's coming for him. The hard part here is, well, it is quite difficult to do a 2-town center defense versus China. China has a lot of firepower, especially Shenong. Lightning weapons, Fey beasts, counter units. It's all kind of there. As we do see Tunison now, he's going to be going into his Naginata Riders. And Soup, motoring across the map, he is ready to get involved as a Shrine of the Hunt getting dropped down in the main base of Tunison. Easy to hunt, hard to take this one out. It's a nice place there. And a lot of food for Tunison to play with. Soup at the moment has not scouted. Oh, never mind. Soup is definitely scouted the town center. As into the main base comes the Kitsune and the Naginata Rider. One thing here that you basically can't have is losing the villagers in this situation, as Soup is going to be dropping one, and there goes the Solar Shield. You can't be doing those moves. 2 villagers down. That's so huge for Tunison. He literally just gets in, gets damage done. We do have the double Yahtses coming through, however, so some good control here from Soup should allow him a bit of damage. Can he actually pick a villager off or not? Answer is a resounding yes. No chances there for Tunison to get away from that. He was very much aggressively placed on that food. Gets a bit of damage done, but that's not going to be doing a whole lot. 2 villagers killed on the side of a 1 town center player versus 1 villager killed for the 2 town center player. That's advantage Tunison. But lots can happen here. The Yahtse can come around, try and pick off the villagers on the back, as Soup does see the watermill. He's coming into the main base, looking to pick off a house and things like that. Of course, the one Yudo is in. There will be the Naginata Riders and Kitsune coming around, and we will be seeing Soup say, you know what? Let's just go town center. It's fine. Naginata Riders are going to come around. There's no wood at the moment for Soup, but he does, never mind, he does have it. So he can put the farm down. There he goes. And that will be a very safe position for Soup to get everything finished up. Though the Wafu is happily gathering food there. Soup not paying attention on that one, and he might actually have that Kwafu moving all the way back home. Not ideal, but nonetheless, Soup charging into the front here as the Yahtses can take out those wolves, open up this main base just a little bit, but in comes the Naginata Rider. It's not going to be an easy thing for them to take out. Of course, you can snipe that Kitsune, which would be nice. Does pick that one off as now the Halberdiers are coming through, but 2 Pioneers do get taken out. And Tunison will pull back into his main base, start getting that healing in, and all the other good stuff. Walls now coming up onto this bottom side. Of course, with Tunison having this gold mine, he should be fine here. And because Soup has opted into a second town center, ever so delayed, it's still going to be a bit of an advantage for Tunison in terms of eco, which is really not something you would expect all too often in this matchup. As the halberdiers turn, get one kill. Got to continue the micro here as the archers will get taken down by those bushy. And can Soup get away from this is the big question, because he can heal those up, and it looks like he can. He can pull back to his favored land, heal those bad boys up, and continue along here. There's a world where you do go into a whole mass of Yahtzees here with a whole bunch of Javelineers to take out those bushy, and then all of a sudden fully upgraded Yahtzees are going to be incredibly strong. That being said, Saltwater Spring coming through for Tunison. He's also getting a market up. Getting to the heroic age here is obviously going to be a priority for Tunison. You get that upgrade. Well, not the upgrade, the God Power. Thunderburst as the Yahtzees pop over the wall, pick off one villager, pick off two villagers. Can he get another one? Yes, he can. With a low HP Yahtze, looks like it will end up falling. That's definitely value for Soup. He has managed to bring this situation back into a very close, competitive position. Meanwhile, villagers kind of sitting idle over on here. They get caught out in a big way as Soup picks off another villager. It's 44 to 42. Heroic Age still not in for Soup, though. I thought he was going there, but he just wasn't training units. He started up the train yet again as onto the backside. The one Udo in, that's going to get sniped. As the Yahtze charging up here, it does have its special available, so he can escape out of here, especially with the wooden wall getting taken down. Is in onto this spot going after another villager. I don't think he needs to. He can just play a distraction action there. Sacking in to take out the one Udo is fine. Into the main base, though, comes the Naginata Riders as another villager does get picked off. Tunison strikes back. Of course, now the hard part for the Soup will start to come through, which is how do you deal with Samurai, Yumi Archer, and everything else when you don't have those all-important... Whoa, I thought there was a Raijin coming through. There's no Raijin coming in. No Raijin at all. As the Javelineers to try and take out the backside. Tunison just spent big on the classical age, and Soup has been caught out in his aggressive position. He's going to be dropping some units. He sacrifices a couple of halberdiers to get out of there. Is there a machine workshop? The answer is not just yet. The machine workshops are now coming through, but the Taotier, this is a really big unit to get for free there from being Shenong. That's going to allow him to eat up the Samurai. Of course, one Samurai for a Taotier is a decent trade, but because there's the Bushy there, getting that focus down is going to be something to be careful of. But if Soup can play it well, he can definitely get some big value where that's concerned. Meanwhile, 1,000 food, 200 gold. Raijin now pre-queued for Tunison. And Soup, well, he is moments away from getting to that next age himself. But the raids are just going to keep on coming. Soup is playing outside of his means on this. He could drop a farm down and be safe, but he's going to run as the army comes up onto this side to try and protect the rest of those villages. And Tunison will not bail out on that. He does get lose one Naginata Rider for that chase down. No problems from Tunison, though. He's got to feel fine with that as this Fire Archer actually ends up getting deleted. It gets spawned into the trees, unfortunately. But Heroic Age in Rushol is coming through. And that is a scary thing for Tunison. Tunison does have probably the right amount of Bushy, you'd think. He's got 11. That's a lot, actually. Which does take away the value of the Fey Beasts. So you do have to be somewhat careful here if you are Tunison, as the Halberdier comes over to protect. Soup keeps his villagers alive. He has fallen very far behind, however, on villager differential. One commoner coming through here for Tunison to try and get some more walls out. That will get caught. And most likely is going to be falling here as the army from Tunison slowly making its way around here. The one big advantage that Soup has is the fact that he has himself a Heroic Age in, and Tunison doesn't. That being said, there's now a third town center for Tunison. So, unless Soup can make something happen very, very shortly with all of his units, get some real damage done, well, there's going to be a Heroic Age in for Tunison. He's going to be fine here. The game will continue along, but it's going to be feeling very, very good if you are a fan of Amaterasu or Tunison. Wall's going down as the villagers pull back. One villager gets spotted there as the Baihu will dive in. Noms onto that one as the Bushi coming forward. Of course, any control there from Soup to try and take those out would be really, really nice. Does he have ballistics? Yes, he does. So those Javelineers will be very, very strong. But the big problem is that Raijin coming in means units... It's not good being behind here. Let's just say that much. When Amaterasu, when Japan is in front on economy, that's going to be pain. Baihu raids to come through. Always strong here. Going to pick off one villager with the special. Continue searching around. There's no real answers for Baihu raids just yet, because those Bushi, very, very slow and out of position. So up to the top side comes the Baihu. One Miko is in to get some slaps in, but I mean, it does a little bit of a tickle damage there when you consider the whole thing. As one villager gets taken down, going after some more. Up to the top side now. Soup, does he see? Well, he does see the town center from the Baihu raids. Still going after these villagers, but the Miko, that's going to go down. Another Miko to come through. That's going to help out as well. Over onto this side, though, the wall gets broken down. No Swampland just yet. As more walls to come in, we will see the Fey Beasts getting dropped in onto these villagers. I don't think it's going to kill them, though. It doesn't do a huge amount of damage to them. It might take them down to barely any HP, but that's a big God power drop. Villager differential here, actually, after all is said and done, ends up becoming equal. But does an equal villager differential matter here when not Swampland, but when Thunderdome gets dropped down onto this army of incredibly low HP units? And of course, it's going to get dropped here unless Tunison doesn't feel comfortable taking the fight. In it goes, and it looks like Soup will say, I don't even care. I'm happy to take it. He's going to sit in on this Thunderdome and just take the full brunt of it. He gets a couple of kills here. I'd love to see him send that Baihu back in onto this position, because that's a lot of low HP villagers. But Soup's army now, incredibly low HP, and the double Raiju are in. This is very, very scary for Soup at the moment. Still no second town center, or third town center, I should say, up for Soup here just yet, but he is now going through to the Mythic Age. Huang Di on the way. Villagers coming in for Tunison to grab another gold mine. Soup probably should be trying to think about his escape route here because, well, the walls are down. How many heroes does he actually have is the question. 4 Pioneer only. 4 Pioneer only will not really be enough to deal with those Raiju, you would think. That being said, Baihu can turn and sort of stun those up, take them out. Tao Tie is gigantic as well. With some good control, that thing can output a ton of damage. Look, take a look at it. It's every 2 seconds, it'll do 25 divine with 4 AoE. Meanwhile, up onto this top side, Sage comes through. Baihu will catch out one of those Raiju there. Takamikazuchi is pre-queued as now the town center is going to come down for Soup. He's not behind here. He's in a good spot. Tunison, on the other hand, he's got a little bit of catch-up to do, but the late game of Amaterasu is no joke. Farms could come down onto this side as well if Soup wants to. There's not really a big problem with wasting that. Well, there is kind of. If you're going through Huang Di, you need to have all of the favor you possibly can so that you can get all of those upgrades, because they're not cheap. We will be seeing the Peach of Immortality tech coming through, which is going to make the Tao Tie very, very strong here. The army's going to make their way up onto this top side. The big problem for Soup is actually that his Mythic Age God power here really is not that strong against the Bushi. That's a lot of defensive power. If he gets it onto the gold mine, that's a different story. Send some balloons over, try and get on top of this, drop the dragon down, pick off the villagers. That's a good usage. On the flip side, Soup's army can literally die in an instant, but does it matter when your units have got Imperial Order applied to them? They're all so cheap. Dao Swordsman, Halberdier, Wuzu Javelineer. We will see the ballet coming up on the back now from Soup. This position here as well getting secured is gigantic. Both players need to be thinking about this at the moment. This game looks like it's going to be going long. So you've got to set up a trade route. You need a corner. You need every gold mine you possibly can. Soup is going for this front position. He's got this back one still. This gold mine here would not go astray. And we'll see how it goes as a dot going up onto this side as well for the Chi Wen. Could be another really, really big assistance. Of course, we will be seeing the same from Tunison. He's got himself the Honengyo, and he's going to be getting that Umibozu as well. But for the moment, Tunison happy to just sit back and let this game go. In come the myth units. There goes the Taotie special, sending the units packing, and they are an incredibly powerful force here. Takamikazuchi is about to come through. It's going to be a very, very tough time to dodge that god power, and I wouldn't be surprised if he just drops it straight down, and he does. And Soup doesn't dodge in the slightest. Every unit just gets annihilated. Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a turnaround. Soup will be able to get his units back online, but that was so much value out of that god power. The 4 town center for Soup going down. And now the Henengyo and the Umibozu will be coming in. The dragon gets brought. Going to be hitting the gold villagers up onto the top, but killing gold villagers at the moment. I can't say it's super valuable. As the Bushi going to come through. Soup is going full in onto the Dao swordsman. He does also need to get fire archers in, but if he can get back up to population, he should be somewhat okay here. That being said, the Takamikazuchi 10-fist sword as well as sumo training will be in as well. As this Zuchu comes through, that's going to get some big damage done onto those samurai. Up onto this side as well, we do have the Raiju. That's doing some issues up here as these Dao swordsmen, they're kind of stuck onto this position. He can try and break through the stone wall, try and put some pressure over onto here. As the dragon now flying up onto this gold mine, villagers are going to be bailing. Tunison's only got 1 gold mine secured at the moment himself, but I mean, the same is true for Soup. In fact, Soup's only got 500 gold remaining. So he needs another gold mine very, very quickly. 1,400 gold in the bank as the dragon getting chased down by those Bushi over here. Soup up to the top, hunting. But the Umibozu to come through. We will have now the Wenzhong through. That's going to be enough to deal with this. You probably want to steal the Asura here if you can. Looks like he's... We'll see which one Soup is going to go after. He goes up to the Umibozu, unfortunately. Not really the right unit there, unfortunately, but now Dao Swordsman, Wuzu Javelineer coming through. Is there enough stuff here is the question. Up to the top side, Samurai getting taken down. These are strong Daos. Meanwhile, to the top side, Soup knows he needs to get in here, and he will be heading there. Where did the dragon go? It looks like the dragon has fallen. Nope, still there. Dragon's still there, keeping it alive. Can actually use it to give himself some farm boostage to get a little bit more food, but he's got plenty of food in the bank. Trade-wise, he does have 67 gold per 100 food, so he can sack something, but sacking it for Daos is not going to be it. Divine Judgment now coming through as well as the Dao Swordsman trying to deal with this top side. Now there's Heavy Samurai going to be coming in onto this position. And you know, once Tunison sorts this position out, he is simply put going to take this gold mine and wander up to this top side to try and take Soup out of this position. But Tunison's up to 4 town centers and he just doesn't have any gold in the bank at the moment. So there is a chance for a pushback here as the Qinglong hovering overhead up to the top here. Main base under attack here as this Jinglong is trying to get max value with 120 HP left. Kwafu pulling off another castle down. Any siege, anything coming out from Soup at the moment. No trade route just yet. No nothing. He's not setting up for the long haul in the slightest. Tunison probably should consider at least one trade route or one market worth of trade route production here. He's not building any villages, obviously, at full villages. But one caravan worth of trade route would go very, very far here. The Qinglong's still alive, still 120 HP and a dream. There's a samurai going down over onto this side. And that there is going to be a tap out from Soup. A bit of a valiant comeback from Soup, but getting stuck. No, I wouldn't say getting stuck. He was just in the middle of this position. And then getting hit by that divine slash. I mean, you look at this post game and you'll see exactly the brutality of that divine slash from nearly 7,000 resources down to 600. That's a 1 in 100 divine slashes. I don't think I've ever seen that value come from that god power. Of course, it does it. It's an AoE damage dealing destruction god power. 200 hack, 200 divine in one straight line. But for Soup, army too slow, gets caught, and can't stabilize afterwards. First game goes to the Amaterasu, goes to Tunison. A shaky win, but a win nonetheless. Strategically speaking, I really like the way that Tunison approached this. I thought going to the heroic age instead of spamming units was probably the better call. And I thought he was doing it, but he never clicked up and instead spammed out units. I think if he went heroic age, he probably would have ended up in a better position, to be honest. But he manages the third talent center nicely, gets the chase in, and he did get the value out of his god power without question. Let's jump over the draft, see what they're going to pick for game number 2. Alrighty, so our next matchup is going to be on the map Ghost Lake, I think. And it is going to be a Huitzilopochtli versus Quetzalcoatl. We saw this matchup the other day with B and Garneth, and it was an absolute cracker of a matchup. Absolute cracker. Will it continue to deliver is the big question. You got the Quetzalcoatl advantage inside of the Eagle Warriors. But the Huitzilopochtli's got all the tempo advantage, as well as some extra eco. Don't forget that. The Sean 1 do give some extra eco over. Oops, this somebody put this timer on very, very incorrectly. Well, let's just turn that off and jump into the next game because, well, yeah, that's what happened. Off we go into Ghost Lake. Let's check it out. Alrighty, off into the next game in the left-hand corner of the map, playing as Huitzilopochtli. It is Tunison. And in the right-hand corner of the map, playing as Quetzalcoatl, it is Soup. So the map is Ghost Lake. First game, Tunison gets the dub. It's anyone's game, anyone's series here. But Tunison is just inching out a little bit on Soup from that first one. Soup's got to lock in here because this is a difficult matchup. I mean, every matchup is difficult, but this is not going to be an easy one in the slightest. Arrows of Heracles. Plus 5% for your ranged soldiers. That's kind of a disgustingly good. Never mind, it's ranged soldier. Yeah, no, that is a disgustingly good relic for this matchup. We'll talk about that later. Oseberg Wagon here, plus 10% of base movement speed for the caravans. Might come into play. There's a decent amount of gold mines on the map, so probably not, unless it goes really late. Svadilfari's sledge there for the fortress buildings becoming 0 favor is always nice. And finally, Demeter's throne at the top. It's actually quite an important relic for Aztec because their Calpullis are a little bit more expensive than everyone else's. So, let me talk about why this relic is so important. So, the Arrows of Heracles ends up giving your warrior priests, not your warrior priests, they do get a bonus, but gives your eagle warriors an extra 5% base damage, which might not seem like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, if Quetzalcoatl gets that, then it's a 5% boost on top of the 2 range that they get. Of course, Tunison, he can go through its Papillotl in the heroic age, and he can get an extra boost on his own damage, but he still has the problem of not having range. Now, I'm not sure if Soup is the type of player to want to play for the Eagle Warrior micro. Soup is a macro player, a strategy player, and I would say that if there's one fundamental that Soup doesn't really like using, it's going to be that Archer micro. So, Tunison, I'm not actually sure what he prefers. I haven't seen him playing this specific matchup before. So, the meta, as far as I'm concerned, in this matchup, I got told that you can basically spam. No, never mind. I'm not even going to go there. The meta, as far as I'm concerned, is make Eagle Warrior, maybe make Coyote Warrior, and make Warrior Priest, and then also make Myth Unit. Anything else, probably not going to be super huge. Also, huge shout out to Lika Fleury. Hope I said that right. That's a tough name to say. Appreciate the gifts and everyone else's support. You guys are amazing. Appreciate you so much. Alrighty. So, now, of course, the Eagle Warriors have been nerfed since all of this sort of early, you had a lot of mirror matchups getting played when the Aztecs were released. You had a lot of people playing them, sort of working out stuff. So the stuff has been nerfed since then, but it will be interesting to see how it's going to go. And we are seeing Tunison, first and foremost, opting into something that I would say is a little bit different. He is going for Malinal Xochitl, which is obviously not the god that Soup is going for. Soup's deciding to drop himself a Noble's Heart. He's making Warrior Priest right away. He went for Patacatl, which, as he's holding this relic, and that's going to help him get to the next age if he wants to, as the Commission Spy does go down, claims that Tenali. And of course, the Tunison Warrior Priests, they're simply just going to pull back here and wait until he gets to the next age. As Tunison, well, he's now in, gets his stuff. Bunny Rabbits are getting slightly smacked around, but 5 speed is enough for them to get away. As Tunison is now going to be charging forward, he does drop the Infested Nest into his main base. A little bit of a turnaround here from Soup as he says, I'm ready to take the fight, and the Blood Pact gets dropped. Losing 1 Warrior Priest for a Blood Pact here is exactly what Soup wants. That is a really, really big win. Of course, this is 6 speed, but Soup can just get back into his main base and just garrison those units. Or, alternatively, he can just turn around and take the fight if he wants to. But nonetheless, Warrior Priest goes down. The Bunny Rabbits do harvest that berry bush a little bit longer. The game will continue along as it's going to be Ocelotl Warriors and Warrior Priests here for Soup. On the flip side, Tunison, well, he's now dropping his own war huts. So he is going for some war hut shenanigans, which is a little bit offbeat. A little bit offbeat. He's going to attempt to spam out, I have to guess, a whole bunch of Tequila archers. Now, if Soup reads this, scouts this, has any idea that this is coming, well, all he has to think about doing is dropping the Agave Bloom and going Heroic Age, because this is not going to be helping Tunison out in a big way here. It's the villager coming through onto this side. Soup does not notice it. Focusing up onto a different side there as the Scorpions get spotted. Onto the back position here. Soup trying to catch out the warrior priests. And we will be seeing the mass Tequila archers from Tunison. Soup charging forward. Looking to try and get in here. Of course, he could try and take out that infested nest if he wants to. He's going to take pot shots from the Tequila archers. Basically, the archers, they're not super useful until you get a decent amount of them. And then on top of that, you also want the upgrades, and you also want ballistics. As this Jaguar or Ocelot warrior trying to throw its life away there. In fact, it will be throwing its life away there as Tunison doesn't allow it back out. Behind this, 900 gold, 500 wood for Soup. A market coming down. Surely just grab watchtowers here and you're good to go. Of course, Soup is up to no good here in this game. He is doing something that he probably shouldn't be allowed to get away with. He is on top of this hunt. And he needs to be in a much safer position. Into the main base come the Tunisian units though. And to be honest, these shouldn't really be here either. I'm pretty sure the army of Soup is going to be winning this fight. He's got a lot more warrior priests than anything else. And we will see the Tailwind getting dropped down onto the back there as well. The bunny rabbits coming in. Lots of damage to come through from this Tailwind. All of those Tequila archers are going to get massacred here. And Tunison, well, he wanted them, but maybe he just wanted them to sacrifice for that Tailwind. Soup gets a big advantage back here, but realistically, what can he do with it is the big question. Villagers can get attacked. He's got the rabbit that can go over there. We do see the villager getting sacrificed over there, as it will be a Hoyle Xiaokui from Soup and Town Center. So he gets a lot of damage. He pushes Tunison back, and he says Heroic Age plus Town Center here for that win. On the flip side, well, Tunison's going to have himself a blood-pacted Ayatochli. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So he can easily take out a Town Center if Soup isn't careful. How do you be careful? Well, you just have to have line of sight everywhere and then catch the Ayatochli moving across the map. That's the easiest way to deal with it. To the top, Polar Bear getting taken down as the Coyote Warriors coming through, just barely coming in. And, well, the villager is in. The bunny comes through. Soup not paying attention at all to his units here. And I think now Soup is going to be throwing away his army in a pretty big way. The Coyote Warriors do not beat those warrior priests up to the top side. The bunny will come, and that will be a dead villager. But I think that's also going to result in a dead bunny rabbit to boot, as, well, Soup coming through over here, looking to take out some villagers. The Scorpions are chasing down. Tunison hits the Heroic Age. Of course, actually, no, I take it back. No, I don't take it back. Never mind. If you have Its Papalotl, you can counter that Ayatochli, for sure. But this god cannot. This god, maybe with the Starfall, with enough Tsitsa middles, you might be able to stop it. But all the Coyote Warriors go down for 1 or 2 villagers. Not the most ideal of trades there from Soup, but he did get caught. And he is now on 2 town centers, which is a big deal, as a great temple comes up into the main base. And of course, the Agave Bloom is still available. Will get dropped onto the backside as the livestock pen moves over here. You can eat the Agave Bloom, get those Aurochs, and continue along. Main base as well, Kalpuli with Shaft Mine coming through, and it is simply just sit back and wait for Soup at the moment. Why? Well, 2 TCs. Why would you try and be aggressive here? It kind of looks like Soup is trying to get a Mythic Age in here. which is a little bit on the risky side considering there is going to be a Ayatochli with a blood pack to take out a town center basically guaranteed. Tunison, on the other hand, well, he's also wanting his Mythic Age. But a 2 TC Mythic Age is better than a 1 TC Mythic Age. As the town center does get revealed. And Tunison basically has to get going here. The question is, which town center do you go after? Normally, you'd be saying, let's just go for the main town center. But if Soup knows that he's going to be under pressure from a blood pact Ayatochli, maybe he puts the Mythic Age into the top town center. Those are the big questions. We are seeing a lot of units actually coming through. Sean ones, Eagle Warriors, the army slowly starting to make its way across the map here. Soup not spending on anything, not buying anything. We do see the Starfall coming down. A couple of villagers will get sniped here. Nice finds from Soup. Does he get the low HP villager with the Starfall? It's got 1 HP. Answer is no, as the Titsamiddles will pull out of here, trying to stay alive, charging after the villagers. Onto the backside they go, picking up another one going down. But the warrior priests, they're in to take these bad boys out. Gets another vill pick. 2 Titsamiddles end up falling as the Ayatochli is now on the way. And the main town center, that's the one he's going for. I can't say that that's going to be the right call here. Of course, now that he sees the Ayatochli, you can simply just move it to the top town center and be fine. One warrior priest coming in to try and slap that Ayatochli back away. There's a lot of units here, though, for Tunison and Soup. Well, he doesn't have a huge amount of options here. Hasn't been spending resources. He's finally putting the buildings down, garrisoning into the Great Temple to try and get this damage through. Picking off that Ayatochli is kind of everything, and he does manage to do so. So no blood pact, which does mean he's kind of safe here. He can also grab himself with some partly towers. Both town centers are secured, but the villagers do have to garrison. The big problem for Soup is he doesn't have any gold mines, but he does have 3,000 gold in the bank. There's a warrior priest popping out, trying to hold on here. Tlaloc now coming through, and Soup still opting for the main town center. Is there another Ayatochli coming through? Yes, there is. It's going to take a while for it to get across the map, but I think if it gets there, that's a dead town center. Soup still trying to defend as he's trying to get units up onto the top side. Needs to get every little bit of resources spent, and he's going to have a good time here as the Tejipla comes through. Will take a lot of damage from those Eagle Warriors as he's actually having to run away, which is normally not what you want to have happen. Units run out of the line of sight there, and this Tejipla tries to come back in for another little bit of damage, not able to do so, and does end up going down as the Ayatochli on the way. No way to stop this. I think that Soup's heroic age, without question here, is going to be getting denied as the blood pack comes through. Soup, you've got to just cancel the Tlaloc, go into the top town center. There's not another good option here. Up onto the top side, the Tejipla from Tunison coming through. Town center down. Units trying to charge forward to take out as many of those Eagle Warriors as he possibly can. More Sean ones on the way. Of course, you do have to remember the Sean ones do give Soup a little bit of extra resources. As the Taunton Smashers coming in onto this side, and Soup is left going, wait, I've got so many resources. What's happening? He now clicks up to the Mythic Age on the top town center. But now it's 2 town centers versus 1 town center. There goes the Earth Monster as another Great Temple down. Does still have 1 more Great Temple, but I mean, is he going to have enough stuff here to get himself to this Mythic Age? He's really been wanting it. One Taunton Smasher down. The next one over here, low HP as well. Earth Monster spits the units back out, and he can deal with those Taunton Smashers now. Meanwhile, more upgrades coming through, but Tunison has just found himself the most crazy of timings here, it would seem. So the Sean one tries to get back in here, trying to defend this position. Eagle Warriors getting little pot shots in as well. Tlaloc on the Tunison side also pre-queued, but he is not close to it. He is a long, long ways away from getting that Mythic Age in. But the question is, can Soup get through himself? All of the Atontan smashes now down, though. Eagle Warriors getting picked off onto the top side. Eagle Warriors over here getting picked off. Another Ayatochli coming in. And I think Soup is getting pushed out of this game. He just can't spend his resources. He can't get to a equal position. The town center and Tlaloc gets denied for a second time. Eagle Warriors cleaning more stuff up. We've got a lot in the tank. Okpakli infusions now coming through, as well as the Ayatochli is going to slowly take down more stuff. And Soup is just throwing away economy here. He now clicks up yet again. Back into the main base. Tlaloc is coming through, but it's 2 minutes away. And even if it ends up finishing, it's still not going to be the win that Soup needs it to be. More units are coming in, but they're all just dying. At this point, you almost just want to garrison everything into the building it's building until you hit full pop or something. There is 81 favor in the bank for Soup. He could go into bunny rabbits here. Not a terrible idea. So Eagle Warriors get a couple of pot shots off. Of course, the Eagle Warriors from Soup can outrange. So with impeccable micro, they might actually be able to win this fight. Onto this top side yet again. The Warrior Priest just trying to sacrifice themselves to take out the Ayatochli, but it's not going to be enough. Down to 425 HP. Could be nice for Soup to actually pick that off. Blood Pact is up again, so he can go for another kill. Meanwhile, onto the bottom side, Soup says, time for a third town center. These villagers over onto this top side, however, they're cut off from safety. Now, he could try and make a bail for it down the bottom side, but this is not going to be easy in the slightest. Sean one's coming through. And into the main base, though. Another Ayatochli in, and that's going to be stopping the Tlaloc again. That's going to be stopping the Tlaloc again. Soup will be able to get away with his villagers. No? Will he? Eagle Warriors getting the damage off as the Tijipla is through, and that's a huge amount of damage there to boot. I don't even know how it happened. Are you kidding me? There is no world here where Tunison should have found a win, but Soup, with his refusal to give up on that Mythic Age idea and just play into his strength, which is literally just making Eagle Warriors. Without question, if he just spent the resources, made units, he would have been in a really good position here. But he just didn't do it. And Tunison is now up 2-0. I don't know what else to say. Let's jump back over to the draft and see what's going to happen for the next game, because this is a wild series. Alrighty. Game 3. Soup's back up against the wall. What can he do here? Well, the map is Giza. And he's sticking with his Aztecs. But now he's up against a scary god and a scary player on this god. Tunison is going to be playing some Aranos. Aranos versus Tezcatlipoca. Aranos versus Tezcatlipoca. There's still some power left in the Soup draft, but there's some incredible power left in the Tunison draft as well. A reverse sweep here from Soup is going to be incredibly difficult. Tunison on his main god now for game 3, full match point against a god that, to be honest, is pretty underdeveloped. One strong strategy is what a lot of people are saying for Tezcatlipoca that does not work versus Aranos. Why doesn't it work versus Aranos? Well, Aranos can build 2 or 3 different units that hard counter everything inside of that strat. What's the strat? Getting out those Jaguar riders, going for myth unit as well, and then just overpowering. Whereas Aranos can just go straight into catapulty heroes, potentially also make some Caraballista and make those heroes in order to deal with those Sean one. It's a very tough game. That being said, I'm saying it's undeveloped because there's a lot underdeveloped because there's a lot of other opportunities here for, or possibilities for Tezcatlipoca to play for. We'll see what Soup is going to choose. Let's jump into Giza and check out the game. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. Left side of the map, Tunison on Aranos. Right side of the map, Soup on Tezcatlipoca. And the first thing I bring your attention to, forward gold mine and forward gold mine. This is not a defensive map. The last time I saw Aranos versus Tezcatlipoca was Eric BR versus Mini Yeti in the first week. There's so many matchups, ladies and gentlemen, Age Mythology. There's literally like 20, 23 gods. Or is there more? That's just a number that I'm not even sure. There's so many gods right now, and each one of them is different. So you go through all of these matchups trying to figure out how to play them all. It's not easy. But that game had Mini Yeti pull something very, very sneaky to find a win, which was a village center at the back of his base with a second gold mine. That's not going to be a possibility here for Tunison. Of course, you could try and sneak a Sky Passage, but Soup is very good at hunting those down. We'll see what Soup's plan's going to be. Of course, he's going to go for his Mass Calpuli opening. He's already got himself the Livestock Pen and the Lumber Outpost. You just net so many extra resources when you do this. If you just think about it just a little bit, if you have 4 villagers gathering and you increase them by 15% efficiency because you have the lumber outpost on top of it, well, you're looking at nearly an extra villager. Not quite an extra villager. Nearly an extra villager. Shockwave does get stolen there by Soup. I always get confused when I see a Shockwave coming in when Tezcatlipoca's around because, well, he steals it. And it looks like he used the god power, but he didn't. He doesn't have it. He's got it in bag, and he can use that many times throughout this game. Relic's getting grabbed here though. Blue Crystal Shard for Tunison is going to be a godsend. An extra 5% bonus gather rate on gold and wood. Can't say no to that. Draggle Palace Crystal as well. 10% extra wall and tower hit points. Over onto this side, we have the Dwarven Calipers, which is the Siege and Kinemetsu becoming a little bit cheaper. And finally, Jurang in this left-hand corner. Nothing too impactful here, to be honest. If you're playing as Odin or something, Jurang is amazing. We do see that the Kimmichin Spy spots the Citizen over onto this left side, so Soup might want to put some pressure there. My take on this matchup is that a classical fight through Malinel Jochitl is incredibly strong. And I have a feeling we're probably going to see that from Soup. Super simple to play. You just spam out War Hut units. Lots and lots of archers, spearmen, Get the large scorpions as well from your infested den. The one worry is if the Uranus player is smart enough to get to the heroic age, utilize Sky Passage and utilize the Satyr special to take your army out. I am seeing some stuff in the chat, so let me just explain the format of this tournament while we're in the semifinals here. Each week is a different playoff. There are 5 playoffs. So if your favorite player does end up losing in one week, don't worry, they get to come back next week. And they get to come back to next week after that. And the week after that, until we have 5 qualifiers. 5 players for the actual LAN in Athens. So there's a lot of opportunities here for these players to play, to show their talents to the world and their ability to find a win. Oracle gets sniped down on this side from Tunison. Nice find for Soup there. As the Noble Sut coming up from Soup. I get the idea here from Soup. One big upgrade that Tezcat Lapoca has is this one. Where is it? This one here. I can't remember what it's called. Teponatli's Reach, maybe? It is. Close. Tepeolotl's Reach. Which, to be honest, is pretty strong. But I don't feel like you have to rush it as the... Gotta be careful with that Galadriel. I think that the way to play with the Galadriel in 2026 right now is put it in a separate control group, move it outside of your army, and just keep it behind your army. That's the secret. At least in my opinion. As the Rhinoceros getting him up on the top, we will see some walls coming down here from Soup. I like that play quite a lot because this is sneaky. If Tunison wants to try and get a raid on, why not just get these walls up? Now, I said it once, I'll say it a billion times, but there's not really a negative here to putting 2 villagers on this wall. You get caught out a little bit if you have the potential to get caught out if you only put 1 villager. You don't really lose much in the way of total resources if you put 2 villagers on it. So long as they're on separate building duties. Nonetheless, the units in the front line, a couple of Murmillo heroes. It's scary for Tunison to take a fight right now. He needs a lot more Murmillo heroes here. Meanwhile, up onto this top side, they'll scout the Sky Passage in the left side. Another Sky Passage coming up onto the right side for Tunison to get more hunt. But, I mean, Soup, he's able to be on hunt at this point, which is kind of really, really good for him. And in fact, he is basically, I would say he's trying to cheese out a heroic age here. And I think Tunison is feeling that. He sees the army and goes, hey, you don't have a whole lot of stuff here. Soup says, all right, better take the fight. We've got that Carnivora getting dropped down. That's going to be able to eat up one of the Ocelot warriors. The villagers here will be pulling back while this is all going on. And Soup says, all right, time to run. He basically had to take that fight in a way. Otherwise, he was in trouble on his hunt. Now he pulls back. Now he's going up to the heroic age and getting himself watchtowers in. So he gets his heroic age and he got the food that he needed. But Tunison, well, he got a lot of value on that attack. Soup has been incredibly greedy in this series thus far on teching. In teching for teching. He's been wanting to get to the next age. This time, to be honest, he didn't really lose a lot. Traded a god power for maybe a warrior priest and a couple of large scorpions and 1 or 2 Ocelot warriors. Not the end of the world. Of course, he did have to run. Those villagers were idle. They would have been idle anyways after the rhinos were finished up. On the flip side here, Tunison now, well, he's got an army of Murmillos, which, while they're good against the Jaguar Riders, there's also the Shorn ones, which are going to be coming through here. You'd have to imagine. On top of that, lots of goats here remaining for Soup, so he can continue to get himself a lot of food through. So he gets his heroic age in.
It is Coil Xiaoqui, which does net this very important technology in the temple, which makes it's the Coil Xiaoqui stone, which makes the temples and the Great Temples technologies cost a lot less. Into the main base comes the Great Temple, and Tunison now has to make the decision. Do I try and lock the map up and go for some sort of a full send classical age gold staff here? Or do you say, no worries, let's go heroic age and we can maybe drop a chaos and do the same thing? If you go for that second option, then you might be facing a Great Temple on the second gold mine. That's Soup. Levy Great Temple soldiers. Also going to get himself the, I can't even say that, Tezis Tekatl's penance. We've also got the Sensen Huitsnahua. That's just a middle upgrade there as well. So that'll help him coming out of this. But there's going to be so many heroes that I'm not sure if I'm not sure if it's going to be working out too much for him. Soup just sends... How do you send those villagers forward that blindly? Shockwave is available for both players, mind you. But that there is going to be a lot of dead villagers. As the Shockwave gets dropped down, the villagers are going to attempt to retreat. There goes the Starfall, and Tunison is just going to say, fantastic. Soup's got 900 gold in the bank. Just chill. Nonetheless, the Jaguar Riders charging for this. Middle does go down. Onto the back comes the Carnivore. Going to eat up one unit there. And the Caladria goes down as Soup is forced back to his main base. He's going to be getting himself heavy Great Temple soldiers. More Murmillos are coming through. And the Obsidian Shard does end up falling. Of course, we know that the units are just chilling there, right? We know. But that doesn't mean that you should just send your units forward onto a gold mine. You know your opponent's been making units. Nonetheless, Tepeotl's reaches to come through. That helps boost up these Jaguar Riders a lot. Soup now, it's time to look for raids. Tunison here, one thing that he probably could consider is a forward sky passage. You don't really need this third one. You do need two. One here for unsafe villagers, and one in your main base for unsafe villagers. As the Jaguar Riders picking some units off in the middle of the map. They are so incredibly strong at this point in the game. And of course, Tunison is now going to say, no worries, it's time for Catapulties, but he doesn't have a huge amount of counter barracks down at the moment. Only two. And Soup, hiding inside his base, trying to get himself out an army so that he can move out and take this gold mine. The big thing for Soup is, well, one, he doesn't need to go for this center gold mine. But the big thing for Soup here is that he does have counter units. Sean ones are very, very strong. As the Jaguar Riders kind of getting caught out onto this position as well. The Obsidian Mirror almost finished, and Soup now says, okay, let's just go to the gold mine. No attempt to move to a secondary position, and this has to be a fight from Soup here. Does he have enough stuff is the question. Those Sean 1 should be an amazing addition here to take out that front line, but there's just so much blue stuff here, and Tunison, he knows how much power his army's got as he literally just attack moves through it all. And I don't care who you are, double the military resource value is going to be too much. And Tunison gets full revenge on Soup in week 2 of the playoffs with a devastating 3-0. And we will be seeing Tunison in the finals here, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, if I had to point out anything, I feel like just staying classical age is perfectly valid here for Tezcatlipoca. Greeting for the power spike of what this great temple is obviously really strong. Don't get me wrong. But staying classical age, making yourself those archers and maybe some ocelotl warriors seems like a really good way to just open and get yourself sorted, get yourself in a solid position. I don't believe you fall behind on economy in this matchup either. When you take a look at it, in fact, Soup was in front and he had idle time. So I think he's perfectly fine to actually take these fights. He wanted this really powerful strat, and Tunison took the advantage, read the map to some degree, or maybe he just plays this way every time. I don't know. Full forward gold mines. Oracle's in position to see everything, and he gets that 3-0. So he's going to be able to take a bit of a rest here. Our next semi-final is Grass versus Mosca. See how they're going behind the scenes. We'll jump into it shortly. Don't you guys go nowhere.